Yerushalmi Demai. We are Daf Hey Amud Aleph. Okay. Now we're up to Tamon Taninan. So we spoke about the din that a Demai you don't have to add an extra fifth when you're redeeming it. So Tamon Taninan. Elsewhere we have learned that a truma, the trumas masa shel Demai. So various things, truma or trumas masa, or the trumas masa which came from Demai, which is Yisrael ate by mistake. He has to pay a keren v'chomesh. He has to pay the principal of the fifth. But in our Mishnah, we're saying that Demai is actually potter from the fifth. So the Gemara answers Amrozira, Tamam, the Mishnah there, he says you have to add a fifth. Taninan, we learnt it with Trumas Masa of Demai. Where the Chachamim were machmed, if you eat it, you have to add the fifth. But here, where you don't have to add a fifth, is Masa Sheni of Demai, where when you redeem it, you don't have to add the fifth. So that's the difference between Trumas Masa of Demai or Masa Sheni of Demai. Our Mishnah, which putters Demai from the fifth, doesn't usually, it's implying that it includes Trumas Maser as well. So it seems that it does not require a fifth, but then we have a contradiction. So there is another answer to the contradiction. Tamam, the Mishnah which obligates the fifth is the view of Rav Meir, who is machmir to Kanas Chachamim as if it was a din Torah. So he's machmir with one who eats Trumas Maser Demai, you have to add the fifth, even though it's only with Rabbanon. But our Mishnah which exempts the fifth is the Rabbanon, is the Chachamim's view, who are not machmir with Takanas Chachamim as if it was a din Torah, and therefore according to them, they were not machmir with Trumas Maser of Demai to obligate one who eats it to add a fifth. Now Rav Zira didn't give that answer, because according to him, Trumas Maser of Demai, even the Chachamim agree you have to add a fifth. So he explains his reason like this. Rav Zira, Amar B'Shem Rabbanim, he says the truth is, but dinah Trumas Maser shel Demai, really, one who eats Trumas Maser of Demai should lo yafrish ala chomesh. Well, he should not. The one who eats it should not add a fifth. Really, he shouldn't be adding a fifth. The whole thing is Rabbanon. Demai is all Takanas Chachamim because they never used to take Maser, right? But most of them did. So the whole thing is a Rabbanon anyway, and therefore you shouldn't really be machmir if you're not machmir with Takanas Chachamim like the Torah. But Lama Amru, but why do they still say Yafrish? You should separate a fifth from Gedera to make a Geder for its holiness. Yafrish, you say don't add a fifth. He won't treat it with respect. So since even the Chachamim agree, when you eat Trumas Maser of Demai, you have to add a fifth. Our Mishnah, which putters Demai from the fifth, can only be talking about Maser Sheni of Demai. Now, why is it, according to the era, they were not machmir with Maser Sheni of Demai to obligate a fifth, but in Haya, Maser Sheni shel Demai, and by rights it would make sense to be strict with Maser Sheni of Demai, Sheyafrish on Chomesh. You should add a fifth on that. You shouldn't be mazazel in it, just like they're machmir with Trumas Maser of Demai. But V'lama Amru Shelo Yafrish. Why do they say no? Don't add. You don't have to separate a fifth. B'nei Gedera, to make a Geder for Maser Sheni of Demai, because Sheyafrish. If you say you know something, whenever you redeem it, you could add a fifth. He won't separate Maser Sheni at all from Demai. He'll end up not separating it. Koleka at all. He doesn't want to add the fifth. So we say, you know what? Separate Maser Sheni. You don't have to add the fifth to redeem it. Rather than not separating it at all. Okay? By the way, we spoke about Reb Meir, where he says you have to have Drabanon's Machmir like the Torah. So the Gemara over there there's a Gemara in Arla, and then from Bavli in Nida, where it talks about Reb Zera, and that we're choshesh for Zava Gedola, for everyone has to keep Shiva Nikim, choshesh for Zava Gedola. That's some of the examples there where he's machmir, like the Dinei Torah. Okay. Rabbi Bud Ba'achia Ba'i Kumar Rablo. He asked, Lama li Demai. Why did the Mishnah mention Demai? Now this was another din we mentioned. Another leniency with Demai is that you can destroy a small amount in the road. You don't have to carry it with you. You can leave a small bit. Right? We think it's talking about Trumas Maser of Demai. But let's see. So, Ramani Demai, why did Mishnah choose Demai? Afilu Vada, even definite produce, would be the same din. And Lamali Mil, why only a small amount? Afilu Rive, even a big amount. But like Tani, have we not learned in Tosefta and Trumas? Aim of in Truma ben Agari Le'ir. You don't have to bring Truma from the storehouse to the city to give it to a Cohen. Lemon Abid Bali Yisra from the desert to the dwelling areas. The Cohen is the one who has to bother, right? He has to come and take it from you. You don't have to take it from him. unless it was in a place shechaya garata, where there are animals there who are going to eat it all. And then Mavia, then you have to bring it to the town to give to the Cohen to prevent the bizayon of Truma. Achilul Shem Shemaim. And then, V'naitel Damim Menashevet, you are allowed to charge for your logistics, for your expenses in bringing it. You tell the Cohen, it cost me such and such petrol to bring it here, you knock that off. So what do you see in the Brisa? That if there's no animals around, you can just leave the Truma outside the dwelling area, even though in the end it will end up getting lost. And that's proper Truma, and even though there's a lot. So why does our Mishnah say the heter to destroy Demai only, and also only a small amount? It doesn't allow it for a lot. So he answers that. Is someone not obligated to return a lost item to the owners? I mean, the Brisa says where there's animals, you have to take it to a Cohen. And our Mishnah is also talking about this. So I have to tell you, Trumas Master Demai, you don't have to bring it to the Cohen. So, I mean, are you not mitzvah to return it? So he explains, when is there a chiv to return it? The Truma Vadai. Rabbi Yossi, mitzvah hula hashiv aveda. Yes, you should bring the Truma to the Cohen when there's animals, but dava mu'at, when there's a small loss. It's a small loss, a small bother. But ain't mitzvah hashiv aveda with maruba. You don't have to spend a lot of money in it. Rabbi Vadai, and that is wherever Trumas Master, definite Truma. But Demai, when it comes to the whole thing, Trumas Maser of Demai, where the whole thing came out of doubt, you don't have to return the item. The Taminan, we've learned, you can destroy a bit of it on the way. So he wants to say the difference is Demai is different. Demai, you're not mitzvah to spend money on the fuel to start bringing it all these distances, okay? And when it comes to Truma, yes, you even Truma, if it's whatever it is, yes, you can bring that and you can knock off the losses for the expenses. Now, until now, we thought that the din of destroying the miut was said with Trumas Maser of Demai. Right? And we asked the question, well, Truma, you can destroy a lot of it. But now the Gemara brings a deal in a discussion in Amoraim, where you're going to see that they hold this din is actually on Maser Sheni of Demai. You hear that? Not Trumas Maser of Demai, but Maser Sheni of Demai. So let's see. Ad Kadun. It's all very well we know from the Mishnah you can destroy a bit of Maser Sheni of Demai, V'she'en b'yado, when Mois, you haven't got money to redeem it, so you can just leave it on the roadside. But Hayu b'yado Mois, what's the deal if you had money? Do you have to redeem the fruit in order that they shouldn't be lost? When they've got Kedusha's Maser Sheni. So if you've got money, do you have to redeem it so it doesn't get lost? So from Nechumi B'rei B'chir Baba Omar, he said, Abba, my father went on the way. Hayla Mois b'disakia, he had money in his bag, and he had a bit of Maser Sheni of Demai, and yet Lo Hayamachalala, he didn't redeem it. He let it go for losing, just leave it there. So there's no chiyuv. You hear that? There is no chiyuv to Mechalal Maser Sheni of Demai. You can just put it on the roadside. So they hold, these are Amoraim, that the din ma'abdin es mi'uta is said on Maser Sheni of Demai. Asid Ruchir Baba, what the Ruchir Baba said, that he left Maser Sheni to get lost, that was like the view of Reb Zeira, who explained that Mishnah is talking about Maser Sheni of Demai, and therefore he held that this leniency that you can destroy a little is talking about Maser Sheni of Demai. On the other hand, the din of Reb Law, what he said earlier on, that he had to explain the Mishnah for the Brisa, he had a contradiction, he had to explain it, that is Kuravimi. He held like Ravimi, who said our Mishnah is talking about Trumas Maser of Demai. And the Mishnah allows you to destroy Trumas Maser in a small amount. So he had the question from the Brisa. The Brisa said you can destroy a lot of proper Truma. And he needed the answer of Rabbalah. That's why he had to come on to that. But according to Reb Zeira, who explained the Mishnah is talking about Maser Sheni of Demai, the question doesn't start. Even as far as Truma, they allowed you to destroy even Vadai, and if a lot. But it could be Maser Sheni was different. When we're saying Maser Sheni you can't, that's only a Maser Sheni of Demai and a milt. Right? So it could be Truma you can destroy a lot, but Maser Sheni of Demai, it seems you can only destroy a small bit. That's what he wants to say. There's no question why Truma, by Maser Sheni is different. Maser Sheni, they only allowed you, because why? Because you can be paid it, I suppose. Yeah? You can take the money. Why do you have to leave it there? You take them, be paid it, take the money with you. You don't have to carry all the produce. There's only Demai and a milt they allowed you to leave behind. Okay. Now, less than a food, that means less than an egg size, mutal abed you can destroy, and that is baporus. That's with a piece which has been cut off from a whole loaf. Ava b'shalem, when it's a loaf which is like complete, where you're allowed to destroy it, ad is providing it's less than the volume of a dried fig. Rabbi Yochanan Yitzchok, he says b'shalem, with a whole one, the amount you can destroy is ad until the amount of dried fig. But paros, with a broken one, afilu kama, even as a lot more than an egg, mutter you are allowed to destroy. Ma peligim, are you going to tell me they're arguing? Rabbi Yochanan argues, and is making to destroy a broken piece even more than an egg. Ramana Amay says, but peligim, this is what they're arguing about. Where Rav Yana, they said, pachos ma'oicha, less than an egg size, mutter abed b'paros, you can destroy it if it's broken. B'shalim, if it's whole, agagorgus, then only a dried fig size. Rav Yochanan of Shem Shimon, he says, bein b'paros, bein b'shalim, whether it's broken or not, agagorgus is still the size of a dried fig, and that's as much as you can go. And based on this, Rav Yochanan is machmir more than Rav Yana. He held even a broken one you can only destroy until a fig size, right? A grogos, which is less than the egg. Rav Oshia asked, Ma'u lehafrish koshu la'abed. Can you separate Masechet of Demai, a small bit, and destroy it? Maybe they only allowed it with the Eved, when there's already a bit left over. But maybe you can't be mafrish in the first place a small amount with the intention of destroying it. And it's a very good question, and we have no answer. The Rambam passes the Chumrah. You cannot separate something with the intention of destroying it. But with Trumas Masa of Demai, they are mafrish it in the intention to destroy it. There's a difference between Trumas Masa and Masa Sheni. But no, it's no la'amaretz. You can give your Masa Sheni to amaretz, but Yochal Kenegda, and then you, the owners, you can eat a certain similar amount in Yerushalmi. But Demai, this leniency was said with Masa Sheni of Demai. However, Vadai, with definite Masa Sheni, you can't just give it to amaretz like. Chaim Moshe Vadai la'amaretz. You can't give him definite Masa Sheni. What's he going to do with it? He's not going to take it to Yerushalmi. You can't do that. But what you can do, when it's suffered Masa Sheni of Demai, you can give him an equivalent amount and take something else to Yerushalmi. Halacha Gimel. Halakeach lezera. Now, when you buy fruit from an amaretz, you buy pears, but it's not for the sake of eating; it's for the sake of various other purposes. So the zera, for the sake of sowing, and a behema to give to the animals, or kemach la'ores, so there's flour to tan the skins, the shemen laneh, oil for a candle, shemen lasuch by sakelim, oil to smear vessels with. All these cases potem in demai. There was no gezer on demai unless it was bought to eat, but not for other purposes. And all the places mina geziv or lahalon, from geziv and further. Now, some say geziv was in the north part of Eretz Yisrael, some say it was on the western side, and that there was an area along the sea which wasn't conquered and didn't have kedushas haaretz. So whether it was a western border or a northern border, min geziv or lahalon, if you buy fruit in that area, potem and adamai, you're exempt from demai, because these places didn't have kedusha when they came from Golas Bavel, and they had no obligation in Maasros. Okay, right. Chala amaretz, chala which was separated from the dough of an amaretz, v'hameduma, or fruit of an amaretz mixed up with truma and became like a mixture. V'alakuach b'kesed maser, fruits that you bought from amaretz with maser sheni money, or shiyaro menachas, leftovers of flour offerings that amaretz brought. All these things, peturin min admai, they're all exempt from demai. All right. The Mishnah Bikurim also has Tosefes HaBikurim, what they add onto the Bikurim once you're mafresh the main Bikurim. Right? Okay. Now, the Shemen Arev, and the oil of Demai was mixed with the Samim, which are potter from Maser. Beishamai Bechai, Beishamai obligate to make it Demai, Beisillah Poitrin, Beisillah exempt. According to them, there's no Gezerah on Teruvas of Demai. There's a mixture of Demai, they held there's no Beisillah's hold a mixture of Demai is no problem at all. Now, so the first thing we said, fruits of Demai, which you buy in order to sow in the ground, your potter from Maser. And because you're taking it to sow in the ground, Loshan, there's no difference. He davash color, whether the seeds disintegrate in the ground, like grain, he davash color, or things that don't disintegrate in the ground, for example, onions. Both of them are potter from Demai. Rabbi Yochanan said, but Tanike, we've also learned in a brisa. Now this is about cases where you buy fruit to sow and then you decide to eat it, or the other way around. So I'm Rabbi Yochanan. But Tani came, we've also learned that when you buy fruit from our eyes, Lachan lezera, if you take it for sowing, and you're potter from Demai, and then you change your mind. You decide to eat it. Your second thought helps. Boin, this fruit now has a chiyuv Masechet Demai through the machshava, through your thought. Whereas lachan lachil, if you first take it for eating, and therefore there's a chiyuv Demai, and then you change your mind, you're going to sow it, you cannot start exempting the fruit from the chiyuv to take ma'aser, because once the chiyuv Demai comes about, it does not go away. So because you decided first that you're going to eat it, the chiyuv Demai has come and it will stay. Totally, we learned it right. So enzo in tevel. If you do not sow any produce which is tevel, which is untied from grain, you shouldn't sow that back into the ground. Tevel, you can't start covering it over with ground, with earth on tevel in the ground. You're allowed to help a guy do it with the seeds of his and tevel. Of a guy. You can do it one of a guy. So the seeds of tevel with a guy, you can do it. Now, even though sowing tevel is also, even if it doesn't disintegrate, with Jewish people already, there's sometimes it causes a change in the masa. You reckon Yerakos of tevel in the second year of Shemitah, which Masechet, depends what years the growths are in. All right. And when you're helping a guy, it's like covering over, but not actually sowing it. You can't help the guy to sow the seed, but you can help him cover it over. Shachach v'zara tevel. If you did forget and you did sow seeds of tevel, potter, you don't have to take ma'aser on it. Shekvar ovad is already lost in the sowing process. Now that's all very well. The davar she'en dakal is lakit, with sorts of seeds which is not easily gatherable from the ground once you've sown it. If it's easily gatherable, so we put a fine and we obligate you that you should collect it out first and take ma'aser on it and then you sow it in the ground. And also the knas is only where the seeds haven't yet sprouted. And in samach, it's sprouted, it becomes like something which doesn't normally get collected, and there's no chiyuv to start gathering it and taking ma'aser. Rabbi Yochanan kadav when he used to eat afilu kupad, afilu be'er, even a bit of meat, a bit of eggs, have a masakin, he would take ma'aser. Areli Talmidim said, like a Ilfan Rebbe, did Rebbe not teach us, aset kol tzavua zarecha, the chiyuv hafroshas ma'aser is that which grows from the ground. So why are you taking ma'aser on your eggs and your meat? So he says, duchashash lemashkin sheyesh b'hen. He was worried maybe they were cooked in other liquids, right? Liquids of teba, like oil or wine, and the may have got absorbed into it. So that's why he was worried about it. It's not a chiyuv me'ikar din, because that blia is called a tarubas demai, which is mutar b'achila without separating ma'aser. He was machmir to take ma'aser even tarubas demai. Okay. If you buy animals food to give to your animals, you're potter from demai. Reb Yirmiyah, shalach Reb Zira chad masanatenim. He sent him a basket of figs to lo metakla, which had not been corrected, not taken tithes. But have Reb Yirmiyah sabameva. Reb Yirmiyah thinking. Rav Zira meichel below tatakna. Rav Zira is not going to eat it without being masukan. So basically, he'll sort it out when he gets it. So Rav Yirmiyah sent the food. Rav Yirmiyah didn't take the maitras, and Rav Zira gets it, and Rav Zira also didn't take the maitras. So we'll see. So Rav Yirmiyah said he will sort it. Rav Zira will sort it. So he didn't take it. But Rav Zira sabameva. Rav Zira thought, well, Maya should Rav Yirmiyah surely would have taken the tithes. Meanwhile, what happened? Tevel was eaten. The Machal Kamime, next to Rav Zira came to Rav Yirmiyah. Amalek says, Ahimas Nasa, Masanta. That basket to Shalachta Liyasma you sent me yesterday, Mitak Nahabas, was it Masukan? Didn't all the tithes be taken? Amalek said, Amaris, I said to myself, Rav Zira, Mechel, Mela, Delay, Mitak, Rav Zira's not going to eat something without being Masakin it. He'll do it himself. Amalek, Rav Zira said, oh, I also said this, I was relying on you. Rabbi Yirmiyah will send me food that's not had tikkun. Rav Abba Bazvina B'Shem Zira, he says, if the early generations were like angels, then Anam B'nei Nash, then we are like people. If we were fitting to be, if they are fitting to be people, Anan Chamorin, then we are like donkeys. Ramana said, Bahishata Amrin, at that time they said, Afilu L'chamatit, or Pinchas Ben Yael Leis Daminan. We didn't even compare to the donkey of Pinchas Ben Yael, because his donkey was kept from Shemayim not to be Makoshal in Issa, as we'll see soon, whereas we don't get this extra guarding. Now you will remember there's various stories of Pinchas Ben Yael and his donkey in Masechet Chulin. Okay, it's done Zayin on the base. There's a few stories there, and we have parallel stories over here. So some points are the same, and some points are slightly different. Ganvune liste belelia was stolen. The donkey was stolen at night. After tomorrow, they hid it in a cave 3 days. The light tower club, we didn't hear anything. 3 days later, they said, I think we should give it back to the owner. They said, we'll send it to the owner. We don't need to die here and make a stink in the cave. They took it out of the cave. It went of its own accord to the gate of its owner, and it started groaning. Said he recognized the groan. Open up for this vulnerable one. It's not eaten for 3 days. They let it in, they can't bring it in. He says to them, to give it something to eat. They give it barley. He doesn't want to eat. They said, Rebbe, doesn't want to eat. He says, did you take some moisture and everything did you prepare the barley from the dust and the stones? They said, yes. In. He says, did you separate the other demai and things like that? They said, didn't you teach us if a person buys fruit for the sake of sowing or to give to the animals, or flour for the tanning, oil to start smearing the vessels or the candles, there's no such thing as demai here. And this barley we bought it for feeding animals. It's potter, you don't have to separate demai. He says, what are we going to do for this one? It's very strict on itself. It's careful not even to eat from demai. And they separated the barley and the master demai, and then it was able to eat. And train this in. After done, train saw in the sarin. They deposited 2 saw of barley, and they forgot to collect it back again. Zaran, so what did he do with it? He sowed it in the ground. And then he cut it. He put it in his storehouse. And he did this every year for 7 years. Then the poor people remembered they've given it to him. But in Mesa Sarah, they want to take their barley. He says, did you bring the camels and the donkeys? And then take your barley. Because all it's so increased so much from your produce has increased so much over these years. But Pinchas ben Yair, he went to a place. The people came to him. They says, the mice are eating the crops. Gaza alehan. He put a decree on them. But Samson, and he gathered them into one place. Shuroin mitzafsevin. They started chirping, all these mice. He said to the people, Yadin Atun Maidun Amrin. Do you know what they're saying? They said, no. He says, they're saying you're not being masaki, not taking proper maestros. They says, Orvan, you be a guarantor for us that from now on we will take maestro properly. Va'arvun, he guaranteed them, and from that day the mice never ate the crop. Now this story of Pinchas ben Yair, so you find the similar stories in Bavli and Chulin. So first of all, a donkey being careful of maestros, Ani Zu. So Pinchas ben Yair, they bring down Pinchas Yair ben Yair was a nitzuz. He had a spark from any offers? Any offers? No. Avram Avinu. The donkey was a Gilgal of any offers? Anyone out there online? The donkey was a Gilgal of Yishmael. And they bring down Yishmael got his business out of stealing. Miyad Kol Boy. He was always stealing. And Yishmael, the end of the days, did teshuvah, but you have to return the theft. And Yishmael had to come back Gilgal between the attack and the theft. And Pinchas ben Yair was a mitzvah of Ram. He needed to come back to be masakin the sin of Yishmael, who came back in the donkey. And that's why it says Pinchas ben Yair went to do the mitzvah Pidyon Shavuot. That's why in Chulin there. It's a reference to Shavuot meaning Yishmael. Okay. Why is he coming back in the Chamoy? Amadom el Chamoy, we find. And the donkey didn't want to eat that, was not taking Musa. Before Bracha, it's Geneva. So the same thing with Tebel. It's got the Chelek of the Cohen mixed up with it. So it belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the donkey, which is Yishmael, is being Masakin, the Geneva, didn't want to eat things which were not Masakin because that's called Geneva. And Rebbe Ben Yair knew about this. So he told them to be Mafresh. Right? And also it says, listim ganav, they stole the donkey 3 days. He didn't want to eat. They thought it would die there. Everything was for his tikkun, because in the previous Gilgal Yishmael stole. So now the donkey was stolen through Ganavim, and the Avon of Geneva was corrected. Okay. Okay. Yeah, fine, let's carry on. Rapechas ben Yair, is that right? Oh, no, we did that. Next one. Magala min de Malka Sarkaya Nefaras. Is that where we are? Yeah? Well, yeah. A jewel fell from the king of the Arabs. The Balas Hadakha, one of the mice ate it. So the Gaber Rapechas ben Yair, he says, help me find the jewel. We think I'm a sorcerer here. Said, Lishmach Tavas, so I came for your good name. The Yod Tzaddik. Gaza he put a decree on the mice for Samson, and he gathered them in one place. He found one which was a bit heavy, and it looked like it was carrying something heavy on his back, a big hump inside it on his back. He says, that's the one. But Gaza and he put a decree on the mouse or Palte, and it spat it out. We went to one place. Also the Gabe that came to him, he said, let's my boy in the Swaglon. The fountain is not enough for us. The water is not like it used to be. Maybe you didn't take Hafroshas Maisa properly. They say, and you guarantee us then, we'll do it from now on. But Arvon, and he did it for them, but us line, and then there was enough water. He went to the gathering place of the Chachamim to learn. And the river Ginai was going, he couldn't cross it. He said to the river, which you find a similar story over there in Chulin, Kuvzain, Ginai, Mad Mona Lima Base Valley, stop me going to the base Medrash Shapala Kumai, and it split in front of him. But Avar, he went past. Avar later, Aminu said, Yachlin not on offering, can we also pass by? Avar said, Mandi Adam Nashi, if you know, you never upset anyone, Yavi, you can pass by. Below Menaka, and then nothing happened, bad will happen. So providing you know you never upset anyone. So over there in Chulin, you've got there was a guy who wanted to cross, and he let a guy cross over. A different story there. Whether it's the same story or not, it's a discussion. Rebbe wanted to allow working the field during Shemitah. Right? He held it was only Rabbanon at that time, and it was a famine year. So like Rapechas ben Yair went to him. All the people that gathered to make a decision. Rebbe said to him, how did you succeed the produce? How are the produce doing, which the Goyim have planted? He wants to say that things didn't grow well. There's going to be a famine, so let's work during Shemitah in that year. Rapechas ben Yair says, all Shani offers, well, the chicory, whatever it is, that's good. We can live on that. So Rebbe thought Rapechas ben Yair didn't really understand what he said, so he said it again. How's the produce? He says, all Shani offers, yeah, the chicory, he well understood what he was saying. Oh, the chicory is very good. The end dies. We can have that. The other Rebbe, he made. Rebbe knew Rapechas ben Yair was not going to agree to him to allow Shemitah. He asked Rapechas ben Yair, Mishkach Rebbe meichol iman tzivcha petal yoma dein. Come and eat with us a bit of food. Petal could be a cooked food. Whether nowadays it's raspberries, but whatever, raspberry juice, but whatever. Come and eat with us. He says, yes. Minachis, when he sat down, came down from the roof there, Chama said Rebbe Kama. He sees the mules of Rebbe there. He says, all these animals, Jewish people are keeping them going. I mean, they're damaging, they're wild. It could be that Rebbe will never see my face from now on. He was upset that he had all these mules that can cause damage. He went back to his town without eating with Rebbe. Rebbe. They went and told the story to Rebbe. Rapechas ben Yair is not going to come and see you because of all the mules. Shalach Rebbe sent a letter to Rapechas ben Yair. He wants to appease him. The people come to the town of Rapechas ben Yair, to his town. Rapechas ben Yair didn't want to go back to Rebbe. He asked help from his townfolk. He said, B'nai Karti, the people of my town, Kuvinli, come close to me to help me. When the Chosta B'nai Karti, they all came close to him. Vakvin alone, they surrounded him, and they didn't allow Rebbe's delegation to come near. They said to them, Rebbe boy, if I asked him, Rebbe wants to appease him, that's why we're here. The people of the town left Rapechas ben Yair because of Rebbe's covenant. They all went away. When he sees this, Rapechas ben Yair asks his sons to help. But he says, B'ni Didi, my sons, Kurvili, come and help me. The Chassid Eshlam and Shemaiah fire came from heaven. The Akras alone surrounded him, and the friends couldn't come and take him away. Azan Amrul Rebbe. The delegation went back to Rebbe and told them everything. He said, we didn't merit to eat with him and see his Kedusha in this world. We'll see him in the next world. We'll see him on his high madrega in the next world. The story with one chassid digging wells and trenches, whether to provide water. This is also a similar story which you have in Tanis, this Gemara, this other one. Bavli and Yuvamas, Kuf Kaf Aleph, and Bava Kama Daf Nun. Okay. So a similar story there, and let's see what happens. So he digs ditches and wells, and what happens? The daughter's passing by, the river takes her away when she's crossing the river. It looked like she'd drowned. All the people are coming to him, they want to comfort him, but he is not being comforted. When comes to this man, he wants to comfort him, but he's not being comforted. He said, is this your piety? You don't want to receive the din of Shamayim? That's not good. They said to him, Rebbe, this is what he used to do. He used to provide water for everyone by digging wells. And in the end, look what happened to him. It was hard for him to accept it. When Repeches Penyahi hears this, he says, he's serving his creator with water. And Hashem punishes him with water. That can't be. The noise came out in the town. The daughter had come back. She was saved. And some say, some say she held onto a peg she could hold on to. And some say, Malach Yad, but it was Repeches ben Yai b'Hitzila. An angel came down looking like Repeches and saved her. So we brought the story of the donkey of Repeches ben Yai. So now we can learn that the Tzaddikim are guarded from heaven, that they shouldn't stumble with forbidden food. There's two more stories. Rav Chinina ben Doisa v'Yosef Achiv leil Shabbos. He was eating on Friday night. Pachas Basar Kumai. The table collapses. He thought, right, it's a sign, stop eating. Amalahu, he said to the okay, what's going on here? Was all the food done properly? Amalahu, the wife says, Tablin Sha'alti Mishchenti. I borrowed spices. It was the wife of Amaretz. We didn't take Maisa, but his kids Hinayin. And he remembered the condition they made on Erev Shabbos, that through that you can mafresh Maisa on Shabbos. And they separated the Masechet Demai from the spices, but Allah Shulchan Elav, and the table comes up again. From Tavern, the Tavern was the Cohen, he was eating, and again the bread fell from his hand. He says to his wife, okay, what's going on? She says, Kadam Shati, I borrowed an axe, which I assumed was tar, but Sisi Agaba Taras, I dealt with Taras with it, and without being toveling it first. Yain Lemuris. Now, a new piece now. We're talking about now mixtures of Demai. Wine which is bought from Amaretz in order to mix Lemurius with a sort of stew. So it's the fat coming from the fish, the pickled fish. And Yain La Aluntis is bought for Aluntis, some other sort of liquids with wine and oil and so on. And kidneys, which are bought La Saisan Tchinin to make various other beans and things with spices mixed in. All these chayovin b'dmai. They are chayav b'dmai. Even though you can eat one with a taruvas, you're chayav b'dmai because at the time when you buy it, they're not in a mixture yet. But in definitely they're chayav b'dmai. It's badai tevel. Like the seller says, I've not been mafresh maestros. But hein atzmon, those mixtures, if you buy the mixture from Amaretz after it's mixed, b'turim in a d'mai, then you are parted from d'mai. There was no gezerah on a mixture of d'mai. Ma'anan kiyomit. So what are we talking about here? In Rebbe, now what do we say? The reason to exempt mixtures, because Demai is batal in a mixture. So he says, Manak Yom. In Rebbe, if like Rebbe, now Rebbe holds, wine mixed with a stew is not batal. It improves the taste. Then I feel it Demai, even if the wine in Murias is only Demai, you chayovin, you should have to take Maisa because the wine is improving the taste. The Equal Shimon, who held that wine is batal in a mixture, it doesn't improve it. Then I feel a bavada, even if the wine is definite tevel, you patoid, it should be potter to take Maisa, is botel. and the Brisa potters the mixture only from Demai, but Vadai, it says, is Chaim. And he says that really the truth is Rebbe Anan Kayomin. Rebbe Anan Kayomin. We're finding right Rebbe, who holds that wine is not bottled. Or Mikalin Shehikilu B'Demai. This is one of the exemptions, the leniencies with Demai, even though it's not bottled in a mixture, but there was no Gezerah on a Tarubis of Demai. Okay? Yayin, if you buy wine, lekilo, in order to put it into a cream for the eye, okay, a mixture for the eye, kemach, flour, lasesa malugma, again, sort of some bandage out of it, then paturin it should be. Paturin admai, v'chayovim bevad. Vada yochai, t'mai yopatul. If the food is tevel, chay b'maser. Hein atzman, and one who buys the actual mixture, the bandage thing was already been prepared, paturin avadai, then it's potter, but even from vadai, even if we know it's proper tevel, you don't have to take maser on it. Now we're going to add a contradiction from the Brisa here on words brought earlier on. Hacha, with this kilo, which is this ointment. Atama, you say when you buy it, Peturim and Avada. Avada, you don't have to take Maisa. But Hacha, but with the stew, Atama, we say Peturin, once they're prepared, they're Peturin, Mina Demai. Demai you don't have to, but if it was Vadai Tebel, you would have to. So what's the difference between the stew, where it's Vadai Tebel, you have to, and the ointment, you don't have to? So the one answers come with the stew, Afal Gav Gufa who bottle. The wine is not bottled, it's only bottled when it's smeared in your body. The time of eating, you're benefiting. It's not bottled, the taste in the mixture. So if it's tebel, you have to take maisa. Whereas kan, with the kilo and the other things, once you put it in the mixture, will bottle. That moment in time, it's already bottled in the mixture, and it's not noticeable, and you don't have to take maisa even if it's tebel. But now we've also learned in the Brisa, kilo shall avoid zara, which is this anointment which got yain nesach mixed in, asur b'hanaya, you can't get benefit. Now if wine mixed in kilo is botel, why is wine mixed kilo in yain nesach, why can you not get benefit? So the Gemara answers, Shani here is different. You'll see it says, you should have nothing left. From the mean me'oma, is surah avodah zara, also even the smallest amount, they're not botel. Now the Gemara is going to ask actually, yain nesach is not botel? Ma beinan, what's the difference between yain nesach and kilo, which is also, it's not botel? Lishmarim, now dregs of wine, of dry, shall guy, of a guy, they are permitted. Ilu shmarim shall guy. Now the dregs of the guy, which are moist, shema einan asur banaya, definitely if they're wet, you definitely can't get benefit from them, they're also, because of the wine element. Ha shmarim shiyavshu, the dry ones, ein behem mishum haznai sevad zara. Because there's no problem with them of Avodah Zarah, because the moisture has gone away, so we see Yain Nesach can be nullified, and you're telling me it can't. Very good question. We have no answer. Okay. Let's carry on. Okay. Remember we said, Rabbi Side, there's a border. Kaziv is considered a border. We said there's an argument where it's the north side, or it's on the west coast. So Kaziv and onwards is potter from Demai, because the Oile Bovel never got to these places. Now, Kaziv Atzmamahi, what's his din? What is the din in Kaziv? Does it have Kedusha, like Eretz Yisrael, and the fruit is Chayav Demai? Or maybe it's not got Kedusha as Eretz Yisrael, and the parents are potter from Demai. Okay, what's the din in Kaziv? Totally related to the Demai. So Kaziv Atzma, Kaziv itself, potter and a Demai. You are exempt from Demai. Right? It never had any Kedusha at all in that town.
This is on the border, right?
It is on the border.
Yeah.
We're not sure which border, but it is a border. Now this did, that when you buy Paris of Kaziv, you're potter from Demai. Now that is where these fruit grew in those places. But if we're worried that the fruit came from Eretz Yisrael, then it should be Chayav Demai. And the Gemara is going to bring now which situations you have to worry. You have to worry where it's coming from. Okay? So we'll see like this. Now remember, if it comes on a big caravan, it's probably come a long distance. Because you have big caravans to go through the desert for a long distance. If it's a single man in his wagon, it wouldn't have come a long distance. Now, if it's come from Eretz Yisrael, it's a problem. So the question is, where is the long distance? Where is Eretz Yisrael in relation to where you are now? So let's see. So when you bring produce on a caravan, B'tzur, in Tzur, and in Hamagoras, and in Magoras, which is like a storehouse, but Sidon, in Sidon, and these are right in the north. Chayiv Yochayiv and Demai. Because if it's a caravan in Sidon, it probably came from Eretz Yisrael, because the caravan has made the long journey from Eretz Yisrael. So if you find things in Sidon or Sur from a caravan, it probably came from Eretz Yisrael. But Mina Magores B'Tzur, so it depends which one. So in the caravan in Sur, or in the storehouse in Sidon. So Sidon is nearer. So you might find things in a storehouse in Sidon, right? Sidon is nearer than Sur. So Chaim, they Chaim Demai, because it probably came from Eretz Yisrael. Mina Magores B'Tzur, if it's in a Sur, is very far away. If you find it in the storehouse there, or the donkey caravans in Sidon, now Sidon is nearby. You wouldn't expect a donkey caravan to bring from Eretz Yisrael to Sidon, right? Sidon is nearby. So Potter, you're Potter from Demai, because then you assume it came from Chutz La'aretz. Because the caravans bring things from far away. You don't bring things nearby on a caravan, right? Each one goes and gets himself. So when the donkey brings stuff to Tzur, which is far away, you assume it came from Eretz Yisrael. When the donkey brings stuff to Sidon, which is close to the land, it's probably not from Eretz Yisrael. Whereas the produce in the Maguris in the storehouses probably came from local, because the donkeys bring from a far place don't put so much that you're going to gather it in the storehouses. They don't bring so much that you can gather. So the Brisa says, as far as crops in the storehouse, Sidon, which is nearby, we worry it came from Eretz Yisrael. If it's Sur, a storehouse, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, you get that? So Sur and Sidon depends where you are as to whether it's a storehouse or whether it's a caravan. And also, Machamor Yechidi B'Tzur, if you buy it from a single donkey in Sur, Potter, because that came from nearby. No one goes a long journey on their own. Now, Chameres Shenichtzah L'Tzur Derech Kaziv. Now what happens? We see the donkey first comes to Kaziv, which is at the border, to sell stuff, and then it carries on its way to Tzur. Is it Chayiv Demai or not? So it went through Kaziv and carried on into Tzur. Is the Chayiv? Come and see. Look, if it stopped in Kaziv and didn't carry on, and it just sold everything there, Petura, it would be Potter. Because we said a donkey drive, a caravan, comes a long way. So if it's in Kaziv, which is at the border, right, don't tell me it came from Eretz Yisrael right next to it. It must have come from Chutz La'aretz somewhere. You follow? It wouldn't have come from Eretz Yisrael right nearby. Achshav, so now the donkey, if it stopped in Kaziv, you would have said that's fine. Now it's gone a bit further. It's gone to the further north. Achshav shenitza l'tzur. Now suddenly there'll be a new obligation. Chayeves. Now there'll be chayev demai. Now suddenly it's come out. That can't be, because this donkey driver, we think it never came from Eretz Yisrael. Okay. Very good question. I think we will stop here. I just want to say